Yep. That's where my head went. That is exactly where my head went. Maybe it has something to do with I can't get this one soundbite out of my mind from August 2020 when she went on that show with her former PR person and they were giggling and laughing. And then she came through with a very, very strong directive that struck me as full on banana republic. Remember?
You know, Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstances because I think this is going to drag out and eventually I do believe he will win if we don't give an inch.
Right. Like that. So when I hear Hurricane Hillary, and I'm so sorry for everybody there in Southern California. It's really awful. Any of these natural disasters are awful. I just, there's a certain irony, shall we say. And then when I heard Joe Biden talking about Hurricane Hillary, of course, that's exactly where my mind went. I'm thinking about her. But anyway, I'm also thinking about the horror that all of these people have faced. I mean, we've talked about Maui and obviously devastating there. It's incredible, though, when you think of all the mistakes that were made, shall we say, in Maui, and continue to be made. I mentioned Ukraine and the funding. At present, this blows me away. I'm going to show you what one of the people from the Maui Water Institute was saying, who's in control, by the way, of this natural resource and is tremendously under fire. I believe the guy's resigned, actually, because of some of the things that he's said in the past, including how they have to be so super equitable with water. And then they didn't even turn the water on. I'm going to play that for you. But first here, what the heck is going on that they are tying funding for Ukraine to funding for Maui and Florida and Southern California, for that matter? So there's an estimate of somewhat $6 billion that it's going to take to repair Maui. And that's not going to bring back any lives. I'll also point that out. But they've got a lot of devastation there because of those fires, and they've got to spend a lot of money. And so FEMA, it's being requested that FEMA come through. Joe Biden still hasn't gone there, by the way. He's supposed to go this week. We'll see. We'll see when he shows up. He didn't want to talk about it. When he was asked, he was on vacation. He looked at them completely silent. He had no comment. How could you have no comment on Maui? I mean, this is real, folks. This is tragedy. This is not pretend. This is what we have governments for. Thank you very much. This is what we have a president for. This is what we have things like FEMA for. And instead, they're trying to tie this to some $24 or $26 billion that they want for Ukraine. I mean, come on. So $6 billion for Maui. They're talking about $12 billion total for U.S. disaster relief, but they're putting it in some kind of bill where it's going to get attached to 20 some odd billion dollars going to Ukraine. I mean, that is just really, really, I think, offensive. If nothing else, I realize, Joe, you care a lot about Ukraine. I realize that. So put it somewhere else. Do not tie this to the victims in Maui, people that have lost their homes because of, all kinds of things like equality. Let's make water really equitable. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, they screw up over and over again. They could have, by the way, there was a big article on this actually in the Wall Street Journal. They could have been maintaining this. They could have been doing what they call controlled burns, which is what you need to do to help maintain the forest so it doesn't just, go up in smoke like this one did. And they didn't. They didn't do that. So why didn't they do that? I mean, all these people that care so much about the environment, and yet they're not even doing the basics. And then when it comes time to release the water, they don't. It gets stalled. It gets delayed. Why? Oh, is it not equitable to release the water? The guy who's in charge of that, who has since stepped down amid all this controversy, he's having his own sort of Alyssa Heinerschneid Bud Light moment because this is certainly coming back to haunt him. He said this little number months ago.
If you go back to kind of that traditional value set and system, there are also other ways that we used to do things, but we just haven't maybe brought them forward into that value set forward, right? And build on that value set and using modern techniques to kind of elevate how we use water today, right? And we can be mindful of our impacts to the resource. And with that context, it's like the traditional system was really built on collective contribution and benefit, and not the individual benefit of a specific project over others, right? There was always this communal, you put in and you get out, right? But that's totally different in this Western capitalistic kind of economy that we live in. It's very extractive, individualistic approaches. And when you get into that space, you create the whiskeys for drinking, waters for fighting scenario where it's us and them. And so, we all need water to live. So really my motto is always like, let water connect us and not divide us. Like we can share it, but it requires true conversations about equity, like water equity. It's not something that's talked about a lot, but understanding how do we, in this island space that we occupy, in this short period of time we're here, how do we leave it better, live, coexist with the resources that we have, and then not make that burden, again, something we pass on to the next generations.
What a moron. What an absolute moron. This is the whole problem with communism and socialism. They forget about the value of the individual. The individual doesn't matter. It's the greater good. Well, listen, this system has been tried over and over again throughout history, all over the globe. Take your pick. There is no nation in which it has succeeded. And you got this moron controlling the water in Hawaii and doesn't allow it to be released in a speedy enough way so as to save this land and to save these people. I mean, that is just actually disgusting, but I think really represents the heart of this entire problem. Look, individualism is good because individuals are accountable. That's why capitalism works, because people take things onto themselves, and the freedom of the individual is what prevails. And when you carry that forth in an economic environment, that's how you wind up with the best outcome for everyone. And so community, don't get me wrong. I mean, community is so valuable. They want to destroy that too. I mean, churches, etc. Community is incredibly important. Family is incredibly important, but never lose sight about the importance of each and every individual created by God. We are all valuable. And you can't say that the greater good of Hawaii and, holding on to the water for everybody else that might need it tomorrow is the right approach when you got a fire today and homes that are burning today. I mean, it's really nauseating, and there's so much in there that you can unpack and really dig in deep to sort of explain the entire problem with the communist and socialist system. Individuals are everything, okay? That's why we have the largest economy in the world. That is why we enjoy the greatest standard of living, because of our care and focus on the individual. And this is what our founding fathers understood in ways that these woke, insane, stupid, I'm sorry, but it's just stupid. I'm willing to listen to a lot of different viewpoints, and I actually find it entertaining sometimes to hear, right, all these different viewpoints. It's a wonderful utopian style of living that they're after, but it doesn't exist. The way you get to the best standard for everyone is to value everyone. Hey everyone, Trish Regan here. If you enjoyed that clip, please do me the favor of subscribing to the channel. Just hit that little subscribe button right over there. Did I do that right? Not quite, but you know where it is. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you get the alerts, and I'll see you back on the show.